New Tool Day Tuesday, where I share with you guys unique or useful tools that I myself use that I think you might be interested in. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit unique, and this particular product or products as you're going to see today is made by the company called Stinger. Stinger makes a handful of devices, but what they're currently really known for is their button cap or plastic cap nailers and their plastic cap staplers. What I have in my hand is some examples of nails going through these plastic caps. You typically see these used on roofing felt. When you're putting a new roof on, you put a felt on top. This is a synthetic felt. It's basically the same thing, but a little bit better. To keep that felt in place, you use either a nail with a cap on it or a staple with a cap on it. Now, in last week's video, we talked about this hammer that has a magnetic head that makes driving these nails really easy. They just magnetically stick to the head and you can pound them on in. But today we're going to be talking about Stinger's staplers that do the same thing, except they drive a staple inside that disc. We're going to be talking about two different types of those tools. Both are made by Stinger. This one's a little bit fancier as it automatically ejects a disc every time you put a staple in. And this one you have to manually pull a trigger to eject that disc and set it up for the next staple. And how they work is really cool. You buy these rolls of these discs that are in strips. You can pick them up in Menards or the big box stores. Lots of places carry these. And in those same kits that you buy with the disc comes a box of staples as well. So let's take a look at this model first. This is the automatic one. It ejects a cap automatically every time you set a staple. The model on this is CH38a, and I will put a link to both of these models down below. I did purchase them on Amazon. Looking at it from this side, it looks like a standard stapler that you would use on a roof, but it kind of has this bulky thing stuck to the side. When you open up this compartment, you can see this is where the coil of caps are stored. And then on the end of the handle, just like any other roofing stapler, this is where you would load the staples. It does have a nice cushioned rubber handle to it. It feels pretty good in your hand. And the way it operates is pretty simple. There's a disc right where the staple's going to come out. Every time it puts a staple through the disc, it'll automatically eject another disc and put it in place for the next round. This makes it really easy to place a lot of staples in the material that you're working on. But when I first bought this, I used it for about a half a day, and I was pretty frustrated because it kept jamming in the end of it. Every now and then you would find a disc underneath another disc. I would have to unjam it. Most of the time I was hanging on a roof, and then I would get it going again. And it was really annoying. And there are multiple reviews about other people talking about how it occasionally jams. So I wasn't really happy with this model, so I bought the other one. This one is model CH38-2, and it's essentially the same thing, except it does not automatically eject the cap. It has a trigger. Now it loads essentially the same way. You open up the back and you load the coil of caps in it. Because you load those staples kind of in front of the coil of caps, sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult to load, but personally I found myself loading the staples first and then the cap coils, and everything was fine. The way to eject a cap is you pull the trigger. So every time you pull this trigger right here, it will eject a cap and line it up perfectly so you can put your staple in place. It also makes it very easy to staple very quickly. And in case you don't want to put a disc out, you can use it just as a stapler by not pressing the trigger. And I do want to talk about this automatic one as well. After a while, I kind of got used to it and it started to become more reliable. I don't really know if that's because it started to break in and there's a little bit of a break-in period. I did read online where a lot of people said they work pretty flawlessly as long as you're using them properly and you're landing it more flat as opposed to at an angle. This kind of makes sense because you can see where you could depress the stapler before ejecting the next disc and then it would jam up, and that's exactly what it was doing for me. All of that being said, my favorite is still the CH38-2. I just like having the ability to eject that disc by myself as I need it. It never jammed up, and I just really like the way it feels in my hand. It's a little more balanced because this comes out the back and it's not hanging on the side. It also has a hook, so you can hang it on your belt like the other one, but this one seems to be balanced a little bit better, at least for me. So there you have my quick and dirty review of these button cap staplers by Stinger. If you like these types of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take a look at some of my other videos. At the very least, you might be entertained.